Domestic abuse, also called domestic violence or intimate partner violence, is a pattern of behavior in a relationship used to gain or maintain power and control over a partner. Abuse are physical, sexual, emotional, economic, or psychological actions or threats of actions that influence another person. These include any behavior that frightens, intimidates, terrorizes, manipulates, hurts, blames, or injures someone. Domestic abuse can happen to anyone of any race, age, sexual orientation, religion, gender, faith, or class. Clearview TV's Queen Red interviewed Ambassador Becky Ogonnaya on causes and effects of domestic violence.
A lot of things could lead to domestic violence. Let's say, for instance, mental health. We have poverty and unemployment. We have lack of good educations. You know, and complex inferiority complex, which is one of the major one, and growing up in an abusive environment can also cause domestic violence. Lack of empathy, desire to take excess control, to be in charge, and lack of trust can also cause lead to domestic violence. It is a global problem, but it's because they have in the Western world where they have a working system, it's minimal, because when you think of what the penalties are like, you will control yourself. But in Africa is on the rise because one gender is meant to be superior to the other. So that's why it's kind of common here in Africa. They need adequate counseling and you know and mentorship if possible. They need to be taken to a proper home where only love is preached, where only love exists. Because if you love yourself, you won't abuse each other. Yes, so this is my, and government needs to also, if possible, you know, add it to our school curriculum. So let domestic violence be taught in school. Yes, from even kindergarten, a child should be taught in school not to abuse each other. We also need our religious leaders. Churches should preach against it. Let's even our in at the mosque, they should preach against domestic violence, and by so doing, and our society will be free from domestic violence. Maybe not 100%, but it will be reduced to the lowest barest minimal. The penalty for that should be a very, very severe one. That when you think about what the penalty is or the consequence of doing that, you will control yourself. When a man is not psychologically stable, he tends to take it out on the weaker one around him or person. So their heads need to be examined. So because a normal human being will not behave like a beast. I have a lot to say, yes, because I have been a victim of domestic violence, and it took the grace of God for me to get out of it alive. So, what first thing I would say to any victim is, please run. When the kitchen is hot, take a bow, step aside, run, go and you know take a breath, a fresh air. Think about what next to do. Relationship or marriage is not a do or die thing. It's not worth dying for. You have your whole life ahead of you. Go and work on yourself, rediscover yourself, then come back if your partner, has also done the same thing. But in a situation whereby it is only you, please let it end forever.